Social media sucks, so I created my own.
I made my own social media app. You
On
see,
my days, I can't hear anything. I've got to put on my headphones. Yo. Alright. Sound locking.
social media nowadays sucks. It's nothing but AI slop, politics and rage bait. And the longer you scroll, the more it pulls you in. It's like everything is designed to keep you stuck there. So I had an idea. Since I can code, what if
There's no way. Okay, wait. Okay, wait, let me see something. Oh, so he's actually like making an app. Okay. No. I might just like this video first of all, cause that's actually crazy.
I just make my own
making
social
his
media
own
app
app.
that won't rot your brain. To get started, I first need to figure out what programming language I'm going to use for the app. After doing some research, I think the best option is JavaScript. I've only made Unity games in C# before, but I think I'll
This
figure
guy
things
makes
out.
games
Alright, so I've got
too.
the project set up. And right now there's just a test button that takes you to the welcome screen. It's empty at the moment, so let's start working on that. I wanted the welcome screen to have the title of the app at the top and the getting started button at the bottom, and also a small text beneath it that will take you to the login page in case you already have an account. I ended up changing the screen a bit later on, but here's how it currently looks. When clicking on
This
getting
guy's like
started, it brings me to the
coding,
sign up page, and when pressing the login text, it brings me to the login page. Let's set up the login and sign up pages. I'll add two text components at the top that will say hey, welcome back, and also two input fields for the email and password. And usually there's also a button beneath for when you forget your password. And finally the login button and a text that will bring you to the sign up page if you don't have an account. For the sign up page it's the same thing, just with an extra input field for the username. And now we get to the most important part of the project that will make it all work, the database. If you
this
somehow
guy's
didn't know,
simplifying it so much that like I low-key understand it perfectly. But like this guy's probably like putting so
every
much
app
work.
keeps all of its data in a database. For example, when signing up, your account will be added to a database that will store your username, email and password that is usually encrypted. And that goes for everything in the app. Each post needs to be set up with the post ID and the ID of the user that posted it, the actual content of the post and any media that is attached. Well, I have two options. Either run a server on my computer that will store all of the data and images, or use a database service like Supabase. Well, each of them has its ups and downs. Firstly, if I'm going to store all of the data on my computer, I will have to code my own system that handles data. And it won't be secure since I'm sure I don't know how to encrypt passwords. And also I'll have to keep my PC running at all times for the app to work. But the good side is that there's no limit on how much data is passed between the server and the user. And my computer will also have more storage for images and videos than what's offered on the free plan of any database service. And if I choose to use a database service, there will be data limitations and not so much storage. But I won't have to write my own data system or keep my PC running at all times. Plus, most of them have great security, so your data isn't sold to Chinese companies. Well, I'm not necessarily planning for this app to be big, and I'm more making it for fun and for some of you all to test it out, so I'm better off using a free service. Well, this is Supabase. Here I can set up everything. I'll make a new table that will contain all of the app's users, and I'll add all the data it will store. We will need a string with the username of the user, the path of the profile picture image, some strings for the bio and email, and the password is already stored and encrypted by Supabase in the main user table. And back in VS Code, I will set up all the sign-up logic. And now if I sign up, the new user should appear in the database. And it does. Well, now after you log in, you should be moved to the home screen of the app, but you don't have it yet, so I will set up three buttons at the top for the notification, create post and profile screens. Also, the logout button will be in the profile screen. Actually, let's make the profile screen now to get it done. Let's move the logout button and add an image of the user's profile picture. I also added a text with the username and an edit profile button. I manually had to change the profile picture from the database since we don't have the edit profile screen yet, so let's work on that next. I copied the profile picture component from the profile screen and now I'll add three input fields for your name, username and bio. And as you can see, I'm able to update my profile. Before I go on and make it so you can actually create posts, I want to fix one major issue. There's no dark mode, but it will be an easy fix. The way I have the theme set up at the moment is through a script that has a bunch of string variables that contain hex codes for each type of element in the app. So when setting the color for the text, for example, instead of hard coding the color, I just reference the text color variable from the theme script. And that way I can easily change any colors in the app without having to go through all of the scripts and making the change. What I can do is separate all the variables into two constants, light colors and dark colors, and then add an isDarkMode boolean. When referencing a variable, it first checks the boolean to determine which color palette it should grab the hex code from, and only then it applies the color. And now dark mode is fully functional. So I realized I never really explained what kind of social media platform I actually want to build. The core idea is pretty simple. I want to create a place where people can share what they're passionate about. So for example, if you're into drawing, you can post your artwork. If you're into game development, you can share clips of your projects or even memes. Those are just a couple of examples. The goal is for people to post about anything they're interested in, as long as it's not AI generated content or low effort brain rot. Now, when it comes to the format, I've put a lot of thought into this. I don't want it to feel like TikTok, I'm not aiming for endless short form videos, and realistically, I don't think Supabase will even handle hundreds of videos being uploaded. Instead, I'm leaning towards something closer to Twitter style. Posts will be mainly text based, with the option to attach images or other media. So let's start working on that. First, I need a screen where users can actually create a post. This will include an input field for the body of the post, along with some buttons to attach media. I also added the option to format text, although I'm not completely sure if I like it. The next step is creating the postcard that will display each post. It will include the user's profile picture, their username, and the date the post was made. Under that, I'll show the body of the post along with any attached media. When posts are loaded, a new postcard gets added to a list on the homepage, and then I populate it with the data from Supabase, based on what each post contains. At this point, I created a few posts, and they already look good. However, they're still missing some core features: the like, comment, and share buttons.
Oh, yeah.
Starting with likes, the system is pretty
Okay, like if we look at YouTube right now, right? If we check YouTube, like there's some basic features stuff, and like I'm gonna guess this right now. Off the bat, looking at YouTube, I think like since YouTube was like one of like the first like big social media platforms to like have like long form videos, I really do think YouTube is for sure like the best platform out there when it comes to social media. Like when you think about it, every creator, like there are people which like wanna stream like me, but then at the same time I'm more invested into making YouTube videos than making stuff like Twitch content, right? Or like short form like clips which people just like try go viral on like TikTok and stuff. And like I think YouTube is like it's the perfect platform. And like if someone would try replicate a social media platform, it would have to be something like Instagram, Facebook, like something like that. Cause you can't replace TikTok. Cause like who would rather use some random like app than use TikTok or than use YouTube? Like I would never switch up on some new upcoming app when YouTube is right there. I mean, unless they have like an insane like creator program or
straightforward.
something.
When someone likes a post, I add the new entry in a likes table in Supabase, which stores the post ID and the user's ID. Then, whenever I need to get the total number of likes, I filter the table by the post ID and count how many entries match. And just like that, the like system is done. Now, comments work a bit differently. I want to recreate how Twitter handles them. When you press on a post, it takes you to a new screen focused on that specific post, with all the comments displayed underneath, and an input field to write your own. So I'll create a separate screen where the postcard is shown at the top, and right below it, there's an input field for writing a comment. When someone submits a comment, I add a new entry in a comments table in Supabase. That entry includes the post ID and the ID of the user that commented, and obviously the contents of the comment. Then, when loading the comments for a post, similar to how the like system works, I just filter the comments table by the post ID. After that, I take the matching entries and load their data into comment items, which are then displayed in a list under the post. Okay, so the next step is something that I kept wanting to add: verification badges. I've never had one, and since this is my app, I can shamelessly give myself one. And to do this, I'll have to rewrite how usernames show up in the app. Right now, usernames are just text components, and since I don't want to go around and change each text component each time I want to tweak something, I'll create a new username component that will contain a text component with the @ symbol and then the username of the user. And then I'll run a check if the user is verified, which is just a bool I added in the users table. And if the user is verified, I'll add a verification badge to the right of the username, which is just a vector image I found on Google. And now, wherever I want to show the username of the user, I'll just add the username component and the ID of the user. The next feature I want to add is being able to mention people and adding hashtags to your posts. And similarly to usernames, currently the body of the posts is just a text component. So I'll create my own text component that can support hashtags and mentions. To make this work, it's pretty easy. I actually thought of this method while getting bored in class. So when loading a post, I create an array with each word in the post. Then I lay out all of the words in their own text components. If a word starts with hashtag, it will be made blue and added an onPress property that I'll code later. If a word starts with the @ symbol, it will first check through all of the app's users that the username after the @ exists. If it does, then I make the text blue and give the text an onPress property that takes you to the profile of the user. Otherwise, the text is just the theme text color, depending if you have dark mode on or or not. As I said, I'll make the hashtags pressable later on when I make the search system, as they work hand in hand. As for now, I should start working on one of the most important mechanics, and that's the follow system. And I'm not trying to bore you, since it's mostly the same
Oh, wait, okay, I'm kind of like seeing the vision now. It really does look a lot like
logic as
XO.
previous things, but basically, I added two numbers for the followers and
really
following.
does look
When you're
like
on
X.
somebody else's profile, a follow button will appear that will say follow or unfollow, depending if you follow the user. If you do press follow, a new entry will be added in a new table I created in Supabase called followers, which contains the user ID, so the user who followed someone, in this case you, and the target user ID, the person you followed. And besides that, I also added a menu that pops up that shows up who follows you or who you're following. Next, I created two tabs in the homepage that you can swipe between, that will either show you all of the posts or the posts of the people you follow. I also made it possible to refresh pages.
like
And most
Instagram
importantly, I made it so you can search up
with
posts
like,
and users. And when
X is
pressing a
like
hashtag,
UI.
it shows you all of the posts with that hashtag, still using the search page. Oh, and I also added a notification tab that will show you when someone follows you or comments on one of your
Yeah,
posts.
it's
And that's
Instagram,
basically it. At
No,
this
it
point, you can
practically
create
is
posts,
Instagram when you
like
look at
them,
it now.
comment on them, follow people, search for posts and users, and just use the app like a simple social media platform. Now obviously, the app is not finished yet. Because of that, I won't be releasing it on Google Play. But if you still want to try it out, I will be uploading it to GitHub, so you'll be able to download the APK from there. And like I said, it's still not ready yet, so expect bugs. But I'll keep updating it over time, and if you have any cool ideas or features I could add, make sure to leave them in the comments.
Okay, this was a debut video. Sub to Mr. Dev. Go to I'm a sub to him. Loki, this was hella educational. And there's also a link where you can obviously download his social media. Now I'm gonna talk about my app. Okay, I'm not talking about my social media app. Oh my gosh, my keyboard. Okay, look, I'm just gonna give you guys a little, what's called tip. Okay, so if you want to make like an AI app, which you want to publish the app or the Play Store, this is for the people which actually went to the end of the video. Okay, unlike you charged, which probably like skip to like, I don't know, the last like 10 minutes or something. So look, if you go to Base 44, you can create like any app, right? Now there's obviously like restrictions to this. For example, some apps are hella mid if you don't give it the right prompt. And by the way, do not use a prompt from AI. Just make your own prompt. I'm serious. Because if you go to like ChatGPT, you like paste the prompt in here, the AI will mess your whole vision of what you wanted to actually do. So instead, just make your own prompt. I don't know, make flipping social media app. You'll probably get something. Okay, basically this is the method. Yeah, so I'm just shouting out Base 44 also because like I use it personally. I use a lot of these tools. For example, I made my own VPN to get lower ping in Fortnite, and yeah. And then I also made these two to like increase like my camera quality for thumbnails, because if you are seeing this right now, you can kind of see my camera quality isn't the best. And then I also use this to like remove like the backgrounds and stuff. But as you can see, I'm trying to use every advantage I can to make the best content for you guys. And also, if you find any issues in the video, I'm gonna let you guys know right now. I'm tired, so I've been doing a lot of like schoolwork and stuff and ish. I'm pretty tired. Thank you guys for watching the video. Peace.